everybody. Um, we got four in here right now. Let's see. Hey, Chris. Chris says, "Yo, everybody, sleeping bag killed alike." Uncle Bill was evidently in here. Sorry, I've got something in my tooth again. That's what I get for not brushing and flossing before I do these streams, right? Um, but Uncle Bill was evidently in here, I guess, at 10:46 p.m. saying, "Sounds like my kind of show." Um, but as you can see, Uncle Bill's not in here right now. He just likes to drop in and leave a message the night before, evidently, and not show up to the actual stream. Uh, but I do have the link to join me live if any of you feel the need. You don't have to know that much about these 8 movies I'm going to be talking about. Chris, you say he'll be back? He might be. Him and CK both might be back, possibly. And I tell you guys and gals, it's hot back here, and especially when I close this off, so I may have to open that sliding door a crack, even though I like my lights going back there and the different colors and all that. But it's hot as a devil back here, and it just takes all my energy out, all this different levels of heat. And it's pretty much been hot everywhere, I think. And the hat's probably going to have to come off because it just makes me so fuzzy headed and all that. It just makes me miserable. So if the hat comes off, I apologize, guys, because that is part of my branding. I realize that. But some people actually don't like the hat. There was I don't know who this person was. I don't ever remember seeing them in my streams. But a while back, they just kept telling me, you need to do these without the hat because the hat covers up half your face and all that stuff. And they just kept going on about it. And I finally had to block them just because it was getting irritating that they just kept talking about it like it was, an extreme big deal or something. They'd probably be happy now because a lot of times it's so hot back here that I have to take it off after a while because it just drives me absolutely insane. So what we're going to do tonight, what we're going to talk about tonight, Chris, you say, me too, LOL, I sweat differently than others, and whoever does not like the hat is a hater. Hat hater or something like that, right? But what exactly am I going to talk about tonight in case, some of you weren't in here last night and didn't hear me talk about this, or maybe caught the tail end of it. I called this 8 Horrors from Oklahoma. And the reason why I called it that is because from the years 1985 till 1991, there were a series of 8 different movies that were filmed in Oklahoma. And some of these you will see some of the same production people, some of the same actors and actresses. One girl, Andrea Adams, shows up in several of these movies that I'm going to talk about tonight, including Blood Lake. Bill Blair was basically a production guy on a lot of these. He had the B&S Productions, I think, which was an Oklahoma-based production company, I'm guessing. So in this lightning in a bottle stretch of time, just like I said, from 85 to 91, they were just churning out these babies. And a lot of them were low budget. Some of them were shot on video. But all of them I find fun nonetheless. So we're going to get started with that here in just a little bit. But I'm going to go through the stuff you guys have put in the chat because now we got 9 people in here. Hey, Dirk. Hey, Unseen. Hey, Blissful. Dirk says, just know Hereta haters. Chris, she said, the one you mentioned, All American Murder, is the only one I know about because I have that released by Vinegar Syndrome. Yeah, and that's probably going to be the most familiar one to a lot of you guys. If any of them were familiar, that's probably going to be the one that's familiar. But you know me, I'm crazy. I watch it just about everything, every damn thing that's out there, low budget or not. Derek says lovey-dovey emojis. Coco says a hatter. Pretty funny. Okay. So, sorry to take this hat off early, but, I try to wear it as long as I can. When it gets cooler weather this fall and in the winter, hopefully it'll be cooler, then I can probably wear it a little bit longer than, just a few minutes and then I take it off. So, the movies that I'm going to talk about here in just a bit are The Ripper, Blood Cult, Terror at Tenkiller, Revenge or Blood Cult 2, Blood Lake, The Last Slumber Party, Offerings, and All American Murder. So, y'all are going to learn a whole lot, hopefully, about horror films that came out of Oklahoma in that short space of time. Okay, so again, let's go over the upcoming watch-alongs. And I am going to actually have a daily grindhouse tonight because I got something I want to talk, complain, etc. about. I guess it's kind of complaining, kind of an explanation and all that. And I'll preface that by saying if I say anything that you guys have found to be incorrect on my part, then please, by all means say, hey, Dana, that's wrong, you know, because, I'm only one person. And so sometimes when I do my research, it's spot on, sometimes not so much. Okay. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Hey, Gizmo. You say, hey, everyone. Hey, Dana, get your groove going. Darky said, I'm sure Steve will bring a huge leaf to fan you with, Dana. Just ask him nicely. Well, he actually managed to stay up until 8 o'clock. That's big. That's a big deal for him. So, he's probably on his way to nighty-night time. So I probably won't bother him with that. Chris, you say, you going to make me buy these, Dana? I'm not necessarily saying that. You guys are on your own and if you want to buy them. Hey, Darren. Gizmo says, Chris, my man, are you listening to New Kids on the Block, eating Hubba Bubba and chilling with Fulci in the background? Coco, you said, dear Lord, y'all, I just heard about that Shad Theron case like 6 hours ago. It has messed my head all up. Not to change the subject, Dana, but has that story disturbed you guys? I'm ashamed to say I don't even know about that. Hold on. Oh. Oh, that is ooh. Yeah, that's yeah, I was just looking at the stuff that came up when I did a search. Ew. Yeah, I think I'll keep my good mood and try to stay away from that a little bit. Chris says, always Gizmo. I have my Fulci idol that I worship with my anime girls in the dungeon. Um, okay. So anyway, I'm going to go through these watch alongs pretty quickly, or try to anyway, then do the daily grindhouse, and then get started with 8 horrors from Oklahoma. So, let's see, July 29th, which is this Saturday, will be Sleepaway Camp 2. July 30th, Sleepaway Camp 3. August 5th will be my first ever 2-part watch along. August 5th will be part 1 of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, directed by the late, great Tobe Hooper. And there's a big fly flying around here, and it's driving me crazy. It's been back here for like an hour or so. August 6th will be part 2 of Salem's Lot. August 12th will be Terror on Tour, which a lot of people do not like, but I find highly entertaining. August 19th, or August 13th rather, will be Almost Famous, what many refer to as either the greatest rock movie, or one of the greatest rock movies ever made, or one of the greatest music movies ever made. August 19th will be the original Pet Sematary. August 20th, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. August 26th will be the original Carrie, directed by Brian De Palma. August 27th will be Mystic Pizza. Gonna try to get my hands on a frozen version that I'm planning on cooking from the Whole Foods here in good old Louisville. So I can eat a piece or two during the watch along. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. You say, I'll try to be on with you, Dana, if you be in CK won't watch it with you. Well, I appreciate that, Chris. September 2nd, Phantasm. September 3rd, Stand By Me. And by the way, again, there's going to be a lot of Stephen King adaptations going to pop up in these watch alongs. September 9th, Body Bags. September 10th, Private School. September 16th, Children of the Corn. September 17th, The Breakfast Club. September 23rd, Cujo. September 24th, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. August. I was thinking about when Ferris Bueller's Day Off on 4K is coming out. September 30th, watch out, guys, because it's going to be the original 1978 exploitation classic, rape revenge classic, I Spit on Your Grave. October 1st, Dead and Buried. October 7th, Hell Night. October 8th, Fatal Attraction. October 14th, House by the Cemetery. October 15th, Flashback, starring Kiefer Sutherland and Dennis Hopper. August, I keep saying August. October 21st, Dress to Kill. October 22nd, Howard the Duck. October 28th, the 1978 classic, directed by John Carpenter, Halloween. October 29th will be Halloween H2O. November 4th, Rocky Horror Picture Show. November 5th, Forrest Gump. November 11th, Maniac, the original with Joe Spinell. November 12th, Blues Brothers. November 18th, Home Sweet Home. November 19th, Home for the Holidays. November 25th, Misery. November 26th, the Beatles themed I Want to Hold Your Hand. December 2nd, Psycho. December 3rd, remember to bring your tissues because it's going to be Mask with Eric Stoltz and Cher. December 9th, Silver Bullet. December 10th, It's a Wonderful Life. I will let each and every one of you choose whether you want to watch it in the original black and white format or the colorized version. December 16th, Silent Night, Deadly Night. December 17th, A Christmas Story. December 23rd, that weekend, there will only be one watch along because December 24th is Sunday, and that is Christmas Eve, of course. And I, like pretty much all of you, will be celebrating with my family. So December 23rd will be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. December 30th will be Bloody New Year, and December 31st will be Terror Train. Okay. And also Wednesday, tomorrow night, TJ and I will be doing the first part. We're going to try to cover 8 episodes of the second season of Friday the 13th, the series. TJ says we'll try to do 8, 8, and 10. And Thursday, I will be on John Grande's Horror Roundtable. Friday probably will take off, and then we'll, of course, have the watch-alongs on Saturday and Sunday. And the following Monday will be another Camp Cronenberg. So you guys and gals can look forward to all of that upcoming. So let's see. Chris, you say, bro, the new Exorcist trailer just dropped. Well, I know the whole movie now. LOL. That means you don't need to see it, right, Chris? Darky said, looks more like David Gordon Green and McBride's booty juice to me. Coco, you say, frozen pizza is duty-fied these days. Maybe they always were. I like to try new things, just keep getting disappointed. Reckon it's time for me to get my arse back in the kitchen and get things done. I used to love to make my own pizza. I've gotten a Stranger Things pizza, some Rappers pizza, and other brands. Yeah, I used to love making my own pizza too. It just seems like I don't have as much time to do that. Chris, you say Mask is Cher's best performance to me. That ending still gets to me. It does me too, Chris, and that's why I warn everybody to bring your tissues. Dirk, you say Halloween 20 years later, where Michael has 8 different masks, one being CGI, and a hybrid machete knife with Tina Turner hair. Chris, you say I spit on your grave. I might be on to do that watch along with you, Dana. Cool. Darren, you say usually you can make any film look good in a trailer. Oh boy, The Exorcist looks bad. Chris says it does, Darren. Looks interesting at the start, then goes stupid crazy as Blumhouse usually does. Coco, you say Mystic Pizza made me think of pizza, by the way. Not totally batshit over here. Oh, no, I get it, Coco. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and kick off the Daily Grindhouse. I haven't done it for, 2, 3 nights. So, here we go. All right. So, you guys were talking about The Exorcist. Actually talking about the new one that's coming out. I'm just going to move on from that, and let's talk about the 4K that's coming out and talk about the sets that are coming out. Okay, here's the deal. When I first started hearing about, let's see, hold on just one second. I want to have a visual for you guys and gals here. Well, maybe. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys real quick here. So you see that little gem right there that I got up on the screen? Yes, Dark. That's what part of what I'm going to get to. I tried looking for this, Zavvy, all kinds of other places, and everybody's freaking sold out of it. And so I got desperate. And, I could have done what Dirk did, and what Dirk did was very acceptable. It's probably what I really should have done, but I did not. I actually went on eBay and I got it ordered from, it was one of those buy now things. It's coming from a guy in the UK. He's got 100% positive feedback. He sold over 1,000 items. So I thought, well, if I'm going to go with anybody on this, I should go with this guy. But I'll make that a little bit smaller. I think most of you know what this set looks like and what it's got in it. Okay. So the other thing I discovered, and here's where, if you guys know otherwise, then feel free to say, hey, Dana, you're wrong. I know that this is a US release. Okay. But when I first started hearing about it, and people were sending me pictures of it and stuff like that, because they know I'm a big fan of The Exorcist, I was told that it was a US release. So why is it when I started searching for it, I could not find any US retailers that had it and even sold out of it? Now, again, if you guys know different, if Dirk or any of you other guys know different in your research to try to find it, that you found a U.S. retailer that had been selling it at one time before it got sold out, then please, enlighten me. However, I could not. And I looked and I looked and I looked. And so I finally found this from a seller on eBay. And so I have it ordered, but it specifically says that it is a pre-order. The guy said that it's a pre-order. This version will not come out until on or around October 9th. Okay. So I'm probably going to be waiting a little bit for it. Now, you guys and gals might be thinking, oh, Dana, good Lord, you're batshit crazy. You're going to actually get the Best Buy Steelbook and watch it. Hell yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of doing. Just so that one's supposed to come out September 19th, just so I can watch it and enjoy it in 4K. Then I'll get my set in around October. And, who knows? I might not even open it because it's supposed to be sealed up and all that stuff. Or then again, I might, take out the book and read it. It's supposed to come with a 40-page booklet, some like facsimiles, theatrical posters, and lobby cards, and all that good stuff. So call me batshit crazy if you want, but that's probably what I'm going to do. Steve's going to think I flipped my lid when he finds out I'm going to do that. I'm seeing Chris says, just wait, Dana. I am. I'll just get the Best Buy Steelbook, LOL, which is fine. If that is what your preference is, I think that's probably the most sane thing to do, actually, Chris. but I am not sane when it comes to some of these movies. And um, so I told Steve, I was like, I just got to have one of these sets. Now there is another set um, that I can show you guys and gals as well. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Um, and I think this other one was the one that we were talking about last night that looks like a Bible, and it's got the purple on the inside or whatever. I'm going to tell you why I didn't go with that one, even though it looked cool and all that jazz. Um, well, dang, now I can't find it. Hold on, guys and gals. Trying to find it, but now I can't seem to find it. I wonder if somebody bought those. That's odd. It popped right up there earlier. Maybe I just had. I'm going to try one more time to look it up, and then I'm just going to say no. Here it is. Okay. So, this version here, I'm going to share my screen again. And this is a set that looks like a Bible. This one is also coming out October 9th or around October 9th. Now, you're seeing the UK price there, but the US price in US dollars, it's going to be over $300. I was like, no, I can't do that, but I think I can swing the other one. Which I saw Dirk ask me how much I paid, and with shipping and everything, and keep in mind it's coming from the UK, it was $168. That's with tax and shipping and all that. So, just wanted to let people know, in case they didn't know and they wanted options on getting either one of those two sets. I I went kind of overboard, but I wasn't going to go extremely overboard and get the one that looks like a Bible, even though it looks cool and all. Um, but let me go back up here because uh, Durkee said I'm totally batshit over here. Gizmo, you said The Exorcist looks terrible. I hope the movie gets canceled, never released. You talking about the new one, Gizmo? Darky said that badass edition is sold out. I pre-ordered the Best Buy steal. Chris, you say agree, Gizmo. I love the actress that played Reagan's mom. She is in this and Elliot Stabler's mother in SVU. And Coco, you say I don't do any possession movies anymore. I don't know or understand who's going to see them. My dad doesn't like to watch possession films either, and I used to work with a guy that stuff gave him the heebie-jeebies too. Yeah, Chris, there is that steel book that Best Buy has. Dirk says that's what the voices keep telling me. Well, so you say, Dana, that's amazing. Is that about my purchase of the of that Exorcist set? Yeah, I had to draw the line there, Chris. You say the one that looks like a Bible is awesome, but I'm not going there. LOL. Dirk, you say, yeah, I pre-ordered the BB Steel for 38. Yeah, exactly, Darren. 270 pounds. Yeah, Coco. $300. Geez Louise. Dirk says, holy sheep shit. Chris, you say, damn, 270 for a purple Bible. LOL. I didn't think she was in the new one, Darren, but somebody else may be able to speak to that better than me. Coco, you say, I can send you a Bible and save you some money. Throw some discs in it. Oh, I don't watch them because they're terrible to me. That's okay, Coco. You're trying to be nice to all us crazies. Well, me, I'm a crazy for buying the stuff that I do. All right. So let's go ahead and get started talking about these 8 horrors from Oklahoma. Okay. So the first one, I actually have the DVD release from VCI Entertainment. Anybody remember those guys? That is Blood Cult. Now, the cover on this damn thing makes it look like it's going to be an amazing movie. It's not, guys and gals. It's not. It's just not. But as I say a lot of times, is it fun? Yes, it's fun. It's got bad acting. It's shot on video. But I think the special effects are amazing for such a low budget movie. Okay. Um, Rod Slane did the original musical score and sound design, and he's done this for a lot of these Oklahoma based films. This was directed by Christopher Lewis, who also did Blood Cult 2 or Revenge, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. So, what is Blood Cult about? Okay. Let me go over the plot synopsis real quickly with you guys. One of the strangest crimes in recorded history took place on a small Midwestern campus. Each victim was a sorority co-ed, and each time the killer struck, he mutilated his victim. He took one of their body parts and left a golden amulet nearby. And he only clued the story of an ancient witch coven, thought to be long dead, that worshipped the devil god Caninus, and known as the Blood Cult. Blood Cult, a movie so gruesomely realistic, the production was banned from 2 Midwestern campuses. I don't know how true that is. That may just be some hoopla to put on the back of a VHS or DVD to get people to buy it or rent it. Crafted in the tradition of such horror classics as Psycho and Halloween. No, strike that. I don't agree with that. With an ending so surprising, we dare you to guess who the killer is. Blood Cult, the first movie made for the home video market. And I'm not really sure how true that is, but this was all over the VHS cases when this one came out. After seeing it, you may never want to leave the security of your home again. This is only 89 minutes long. From 1985, not rated, of course. It tells you contains scenes of graphic violence. This DVD does have commentary featuring director Christopher Lewis, musical director Rod Slane, and effects supervisor David Powell. Original trailer and promotion video. So this is also a DVD 9, which is a hybrid DVD. They didn't have too many of these. I must have taken this disc out at some point in time. I hope I haven't lost it. Because I don't remember. Maybe. Oh, yes, I do. I think I took it out and put it in the player in there. I was freaking out a little bit because I was like, oh God, where'd this disc go? Because as far as I know, I mean, there might be a Blu-ray release, but I haven't seen one. But talking about realistic murders in this movie, I probably could get by with showing you a scene or two from this, but sorry guys and gals, I'm not gonna risk it. Just because sometimes, or a lot of times, I think it won't, stop the stream, won't get not a copyright strike, but a content claim, or anything like that. And usually when I think it won't, that's when it does. So, what I was going to do for y'all's benefit is I thought it was on YouTube, and yes, it is. If you just put Blood Cult in the search on YouTube, third one down, Blood Cult 1985, a user called Slasher Film 1980s has put it out. So, here's a little homework for you guys and gals if you want to watch this. I dare you to look at the first scene and the first kill and tell me that at least some of that doesn't look realistic. I mean, I don't know what happened to the guy that did the special effects for this movie and maybe some of these others I'm going to talk about tonight. But can you imagine, though, if he could do, what I'm trying to describe to you that he did, what he could do if somebody gave him a little more money and a studio and all of that to do stuff. I didn't say whores, horrors, or horrors, as you guys try to say, so it doesn't sound like whores. You tell me there's more than 8 whores in Oklahoma. Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not really interested in that, but oh, did you, Chris? Are you talking about this Julie Andelman? It does kind of look like Julie Andrews on there. Darren, you say it would make sense for her to be in it more than the mother. It kind of does to me too, Darren. But nothing those guys do, David Gordon Green and the McBride guy, nothing they do makes any sense to me at all. Chris, you say I love this film already. LOL. Well, if you're talking about Blood Cult, you can always get on YouTube and watch it for free. Coco, well, thank you. You say I like when you talk about movies. It's informative and relaxing. I wish somebody'd tell my husband that. Yeah, Darren, it doesn't make sense to me either. You say I don't see how you can have an Exorcist film without Reagan, but then again, it's Blumhouse. Chris, you say I checked. There's not. LOL. You talking about a Blu-ray? I didn't think there was a Blu-ray of this. Coco, you say I can just throw you on, clean, cook, maybe crank up real loud and tend the garden and sweep the front porch. Well, Wes, it's not really a turd to me. Yeah, it's low budget. Yeah, it has bad acting in it and all of that. But again, I always have to say, is it fun? And for me, this one's fun. And I think it's got pretty decent special effects. But you haven't seen it in probably 20 years? Oh, cool, Darren. You say I've got the DVD set of Blood Cult, Ripper, and Revenge. So you've got both of the Blood Cult movies and you got Ripper. Now, I watched Ripper last night in preparation for this stream on YouTube last night. Well, I'm not saying it's not bad. I ain't gonna lie to anybody, but I still, I stand by it. I think it's fun. Ripper Owens. Okay, so um, there's probably a trailer on there as well on YouTube, but again, I'm not gonna lie to you guys because I don't want to do that to people. Is this the greatest movie ever made? No, God, no. And am I recommending that you go out and try to buy a copy? No, I am not. I'm just saying, if you want a fun little time waster and you don't mind the terrible acting in it and all that, and can just kind of enjoy it for what it is, then yeah, I say, give it a watch. I mean, 89 minutes. It's not like it's 3 hours long or anything. Like we got Hollywood pieces of shit now that are 3 hours or more long. Imagine trying to sit through that torture. Um, when you could just watch something kind of fun like Blood Cult. That would be awesome if you could find it at your Dollar Tree. Actually, I'm kind of curious what it's going for now because I've had this DVD for quite a few years. Yeah, it looks like somebody has got it. I guess a seller's selling it. It says used from $25. So I doubt very seriously I gave $25 for it when I got it. Would imagine it was a lot less. But I wonder if people gave it any reviews. Some people gave it 4 or 5 stars. Somebody said the best direct to video slasher film ever to be made in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Somebody gave it 1 star and said worst movie ever. Somebody said, who are they kidding? I was fully expecting, it to get, terrible reviews. Um, Darren, said they once said that Blood Cult was the first shot on video film. Boarding House came before, I believe. Not sure if that was shot in 16 millimeter. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, Darren, I'm not sure the validity of that. I think that was probably put on the VHS to to sell it, to sell the movie, or get people to rent it or whatever. Chris says, Gizmo, you got a trash movie for your stream for Darren to watch. Um, but yeah, I actually didn't really get past the first kill in this time around. I just didn't have as much time. But I remember enough about it to be able to, talk about it. I just wanted to, it may sound crazy, but I have a little bit of nostalgia for this movie because this is a movie, again, that I remember watching growing up. And so, of course, when I got older, got a job, got my own money, and VCI brought this out on DVD, I was like, well, heck yeah, that's a no-brainer. But that was only because I had rented it before or something and saw it and, didn't have to pay full price for the movie, just the rental cost. Oh, goodness, so sorry. But, it's like a lot of those movies I watched growing up. They may be terrible movies, but because you've got that nostalgia for them, it keeps you coming back time after time after time to watch them. And a lot of people, are going to look at you like you put your clothes on sideways. Of course they are, just because they don't understand somebody liking something like that. They're like, damn, that's a piece of trash. I don't understand why you want to watch that. I've been told that over and over again, but I like what I like. I enjoy whatever I enjoy, and other people, uh, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you hate it, or as Wes says, call it a turd. Um, that's not going to stop me from watching it. I'm still going to watch it, and I just have to say, to each their own. Darren, you said, Chris, I got some gems for next time. Chris, you said, one of these days I'll put a stack for you to for the stream when I'm on it. That's why I'm doing my not watched it yet Tuesdays. No, not talking about the musical X-Ray. Actually, we're talking about 8 horror movies that came out of Oklahoma from 1985 to 1991. Um, No, I didn't get my hair did actually, but thank you for thinking I did. No, actually, it's the same old stuff. I've got to get my hair colored because, man, look at this gray in it. It's driving me nuts. I'm starting to look my age of 47 now. Darren, you say I'm used to watching bad slasher films. I think I am too at this point. So anyway, this one gets a recommendation for me, but again, a warning: don't go out and spend any money on it just yet. If you don't already own a copy of this or can't borrow it from a friend or whatever, you're probably thinking, God, what kind of friend would have this movie? Then check it out for free on YouTube uh, before you make a decision if you want to buy something that's got collector's prices now, unfortunately. But Blood Cult's the one I enjoy. If not for anything else, for that beginning scene alone. And I'm pretty sure that this is the movie that my Aunt Sandy told me, like, before I think it might have been before I'd seen it, or I maybe had seen it once and had forgotten most of it at that point. But she said there was a movie so scary at the beginning that she had to turn it off. And she talked about somebody chopping their way into a bathroom. And so when I rewatched Blood Cult, I was like, I'm wondering if this is the one. Now, it was scary to her at that time if this was indeed the one she watched. However, I am not going to try to pull the wool over your eyes here. Um, and it's not the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's just a fun movie. Just a fun movie. That's all. Well, thanks, Chris. You say your hair looks fine, Dana. Um, X-Ray, you say, gonna make a horror movie about two black guys fighting Oklahoma zombies. Oklahoma boys. Yeah, I think that is pretty much a genius, Coco. We were talking about that a little earlier. I'm trying to stay away from that thing because, as I can tell from a lot of people that have seen it, um, that it's exactly what you said, new shitty Exorcist reboot. So, yeah, I'm trying as hard as I can, X Ray, to stay away from it. But a lot of people have been in the chat tonight talking about how bad it looks. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, I don't actually have a physical copy of it. I never have had a physical copy of it, but this is one I saw at the video rental stores back in the day, and I never rented it, even though it had Tom Savini on the cover. Tom Savini actually plays the Ripper, or Jack the Ripper, or whatever you want to call it, call him in this movie, and that is the Ripper from 1985. Although I believe Blood Cult came out before. Um, so I watched that on YouTube as well last night, and not a bad little movie. Andrea Adams was in it. Andrea Adams was in a whole slew of these later in the 80s. Okay. Because if you watch Revenge, she's going to pop up in there. If you watch Blood Lake, she's also going to pop up in there as well. So she was in several of them. Yeah, X-Ray, that actually would. You said that would make a funny topic, great horror movies you just kept skipping whenever you saw it at the VHS store. Exactly. X-Ray, you say David Gordon Green is a hackmeister. I agree with that. Chris says, why even put the trailer out when you know you're going to lose money? Shit. LOL. Oh, there'll probably be several people that'll keep that damn movie afloat out there, unfortunately. Guys and gals, before I get really knee deep into the Ripper, blood sugar's feeling a little low, so I'm going to step away for just 1 second. I'm going to take myself out of the stream, but I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Had a donut stick. Lord, I love those things. Um, let's see. Darren, you say Savini hates anyone who he hates anyone that brings up the Ripper to him at cons. Well, I'm glad I didn't bring that movie up to him at the convention I saw him in. Um, Blissel says, "Oh, unsupervised," and Coco seconds it. Chris, you say didn't even know he played it till mentioned it, till mentioned. LOL. Probably was better actor in Maniac till he gets his head blown to pieces. Well, actually, I think he did pretty good as the Ripper in this. It was an interesting take on it, I thought. Coco, you say, but it does make me nervous when people feel off because of certain conditions. You mean like diabetes and stuff, people feeling weak, and then Coco goes in a completely different direction. Blissel says, Coco like naked in the elevator. Um, Darren says Savini wanted to be known for his acting over his effects work a while back. Blows my mind. That kind of does blow my mind as well, Darren, because he's so good at the effects work. But he's not too shabby of an actor either. So that's interesting. Coco says, has that happened to you, Bliss? And Blissful says, according to now destroyed pictures, yes. Chris says, damn, and we are getting a sequel to Believer in 2025. Okay, so anyway, back to the Ripper. Again, this is available through both Screenbox if you have Screenbox, or you can just flat out watch it for free on YouTube. And it's not a really some of that stuff looks pretty crappy on there on YouTube, especially this low budget and or shot on video stuff. But this one doesn't actually look too bad. But so it starts out, it's supposed to be in Jack the Ripper times. And this woman, gets slashed up by Jack the Ripper, basically. Then we move forward to what's supposed to be modern times, or modern times in 1985. And I call it, I'm guessing it's a college class, is learning about killers and how they are portrayed in movies or how Hollywood portrays them. And there's a guy that's sitting in the front row with his girlfriend. And he's like one of those guys that, I mean, I know we're all of us in here are probably consider ourselves super into movies that we like, right? So this guy is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over like movies, books, whatever about these different killers like Jack the Ripper. And he seems to have, it's almost scary how much research and reading and watching of films and I guess documentaries and all that he knows everything. And he also likes horror movies as well. So he's always talking to their professor about, either horror movies or things about these different killers. And so you see him getting on the professor's nerves after a while because the guy's always coming up to him and saying, did you see what was on last night? And he calls him at his house multiple times. You better wake up. You're going to miss the conqueror worm or something, Um, And he's always correcting people. He's got to be right about everything. There's one scene where he's playing, I guess, kind of like a Trivial Pursuit game with his girlfriend, and it's like movie trivia, I guess. And she's just reading what she assumes is the correct answer off the back of one of these cards, and he's like, no, you know, uh, he says, no, that's not right. And she says, well, I'm just going by the cards. And then the professor comes out, and then the professor is like, yeah, okay, so this is the right answer. He's like, no, it's not the right answer. So if this was a mystery movie or a Giallo or something like that, um, we would be, kind of be wondering, well, could he be the killer? Nah, that'd be too obvious or whatever. But this isn't that kind of movie. So this professor is a weird dude, though, to me. He wears weird sweaters. I mean, I know it was the 80s, but he's got these weird sweaters he wears, and his hair looks kind of permish and all that. And he's got this odd looking girlfriend. And I know it's all low budget and all that stuff. But Andrea Adams, I told you Andrea Adams shows up in several of these. And she shows up as the girlfriend of the guy that seems to know everything about horror movies and everything about all these different killers and stuff. And so the professor ends up going to, I guess, an antiques like shop or a pawn shop, like, just where you go to, get antiques and collectibles or whatever. And his girlfriend's wanting to look at this brass, I think it's a brass headboard. And, she really, really wants it, but she thinks she's going to have to save for it a couple of paychecks or something like that. And while they're in there, the boyfriend finds a ring. And I mean, it's a big old gaudy looking ring. But this turns out to be supposedly the ring that Jack the Ripper wore. And so the professor goes back and forth quite a bit. And then he decides he can't stand it any longer. He's got to buy this ring. Then he starts looking at a book on Jack the Ripper, and he sees a picture of this same damn ring he got at the Antiques and Collectibles shop. And he's also discovered that once he put the ring on his finger, he can't get it off anymore. So he's having these bizarre nightmares where somebody, Jack the Ripper, I guess, is killing people. But then he sees himself in the background dressed as Jack the Ripper laughing as the killer kills his girlfriend in the dream and all of that. And things just go from bad to worse until we find out that Jack the Ripper has totally taken over the professor. And at that point in time, Tom Savini is clearly shown as the Ripper in these scenes. And again, I don't think he does too bad of a job. It doesn't, to me, it didn't seem hokey or anything like that. And again, I think the special effects are pretty decent in this one as well, with the slit throats. And there's even one scene where intestines are pulled out. And I know a lot of that stuff generally does look fake because, animal parts are used and stuff like that in a lot of those scenes. Coco, you say, yes, when you feel off because of diabetes. So does your sugar drop too low? Just trying to understand. Yes, it does. And that's exactly what it did a few minutes ago. And if I ignore it or try to ignore it, which I've learned over time you don't want to do, it will not get better. It will get worse. And I would wind up unfortunately embarrassing myself here on a live stream by acting all crazy because my blood sugar got too low. But I don't mind you asking. That's how people learn about different stuff. Coco, you say Jack the Ripper is fascinating, though. I watched something a few years back, and they think they may have figured out who he was, DNA. Yeah, I've heard, several different shows claim to. I've watched several of them with Steve, or have heard him talk about them, and Steve says he thinks they just say that to get ratings, which would totally make sense, because he says a lot of times he watches this stuff and they ain't really any closer to finding out who Jack the Ripper was than they were years and years ago. Coco, you say permish. Sorry, perms make me laugh. They kind of make me laugh too. Uh, Blizzle, you say, just saying this person sounds familiar. What, did I miss something? I guess I'm missing what person we're talking about, but didn't mean to pry if that was another conversation that was going on, Blissful. So again, I think that Ripper is a decent, low budget, kind of schlocky, but I didn't find it overly hokey or just super bad where it was unwatchable. Um, and it makes me almost wish I had that set that Darren was talking about that had, you know, Blood Cult and Revenge and Ripper. Oh, I got you. I got you, Blissful. You say the know-it-all in the movie. Yeah, I think I'm afraid I know several people that are like that. I hope I don't seem like that to people, though. Um, okay, so moving right along to one of two movies. I'm actually going to talk about both of these movies tonight, but the first one I want to talk about is Terror at Tenkiller. Yes, this is the one that is shortly going to be coming out in a 4K version. And if you ask Dirk, it has a cool ass cover on it. But so many people talk about what a terrible film it is. And I ain't gonna lie, it's not a good film. And you've got a girl that looks like she's heading towards 40, that's playing a college student. The other girl looks a little bit younger. And I know I've talked about this before, but I got to bring it up again because it's just so hilarious to me. As you guys and gals know, with a lot of low budget films, a lot of times they have to stop filming for a while. It could be over a year and then go back and film again when they get more money. And so I think that's what happened with Terror at Tenkiller, among other things, because um, the girl Jana, who plays the main girl Leslie's best friend from college. So when they first get to Jana's childhood vacation home, you can see, and then in the previous scenes before, you can see that Jana's not well endowed. She's not well endowed, okay? We can't lie here. So, like a few scenes, literally a few scenes later, you see Jana getting into her bathing suit, her two-piece bathing suit, and holy crap! If that chick ain't had a boob job, then I ain't the Evil Dead chick, okay? Because it's just like pow in your face, like those couldn't have been the same boobs that she had a couple of scenes earlier. Just no way. Um, so, uh, This one's actually 90 minutes. So it's, your average film length. And it was directed by Ken Meyer, who I believe also has a role in the film as the abusive boyfriend of Leslie. So that's really why Leslie and Jana decided to take off. They had the weekend free from school. And so Jana decides that's the best thing for Leslie. Just get away from her abusive boyfriend and go stay at the lake for the weekend. And or maybe they were planning, I'm not sure if they were planning on staying for, the duration of the summer or what. But they end up, going there, and the place is small, and Jana pretty much knows everybody. She's been coming to this place, Tenkiller, for years, ever since she was a young girl. And she knows this guy Charlie that runs the local restaurant in town. And she's worked for Charlie for many, many summers. Um, you know, waitressing and probably cooking and all those different things. And so she tells, Leslie, she says, maybe Charlie will hire you too and you can make a little extra money. So um once they get there though, um the boyfriend calls and wants Leslie to tell him where she is. And of course, she's like, no, I'm not going to tell you where I am. And then he starts becoming abusive over the phone and all that. And Jana threatens him and they hang up on him. And then, as viewers of the movie, as time goes on, Leslie and Jana meet a few other people. They meet this guy named Tor. I don't know why somebody would name their kid Tor or where he got that name, but um, there's another thing about this movie. They do not keep a secret at all about who the killer is in this. And so if you don't want to know who the killer is till they show it early in the movie, if you're planning on watching this movie, then you might want to step away for a second because I'm going to spoil that part for you. So I'll give you a few seconds to step away, plug your ears, or whatever. So the killer is Tor, and you see that clearly early on. So by the point in time in the movie where Leslie and Jana get this ominous phone message on the answer machine, a very old answer machine. If we look at it now, I mean, this was 1986. 1986 answer machines. Think about that for a second. But so they get this ominous message where someone says, I'm coming to get you, basically. And so you've got not only that, and they're not sure whether that's the boyfriend or not. I would like to think I would know if it was my boyfriend or whatever, calling and leaving a message on the answer machine, but whatever. So you, like I said, you see Tor obviously in the act of killing women throughout the movie. So it's only a matter of time before he makes his way to Leslie and Jana. And then I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to spoil the ending in case there are those of you that might want to watch this little gem on your own and don't want to know everything about it. And I would imagine that Tara at Tenkiller would be, and yes, it is, that slasher film 1980s has Terror at Tenkiller. So you can certainly watch it for free on YouTube if you like. And also, for those of you that like to listen to the Hysteria Continues, 7 months ago, they did a Blood Lake and Terror at Tenkiller episode. I may have to listen to that because I enjoyed both of these films. Bliss, will you say I don't sound like the know-it-all? Chris, you say if Dirk likes it, I'm in. I don't know if Dirk likes Terror at Tenkiller. I think he thinks it's an awful movie. I don't know if Dirk's still in here or not. Bliss, will you say Chris? Same. Coco says, yeah, Bliss, kind of daunting. Blissful says, Coco, it is, but so much fun. And Unseen says, all that catching up. So, again, I ain't going to lie and tell you that Terror at Tenkiller is an amazing movie because it's not. But again, is it a fun movie? Hell yes, it's a fun movie. And, you know, I'm not saying to go out and buy this sucker, but if you want to get a taste of what this is like, check it out on YouTube for free. And something else I want to bring up, United Entertainment Pictures did a lot of these. I believe they put out Blood Cult and Revenge. They put out Terror at Tenkiller. So that was a staple, I guess, of Oklahoma movie making back in the mid to late 80s and early 90s as well. So, yeah, I would recommend Terror at Tenkiller. I did buy the 4K. Haven't gotten it yet. I'm eagerly awaiting getting my packages from Vinegar Syndrome and Severin. Okay. So, moving right along is another one that I don't have a physical copy of, but it is on YouTube if you don't have a physical copy and would like to check it out. A user called Deal Row TV, I believe, or maybe it's Death Row TV. And believe it or not, John Carradine is in this, and Patrick Wayne, John Wayne's son. They were really slumming when they were in this. Also, Andrea Adams makes yet another appearance in this one as a reporter at the beginning of the movie. Okay. So I kind of rewatched this one on fast forward before I did this stream. Chris, you want to know who has the 4K? I want to say it's Vinegar Syndrome, Chris, but I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, Vinegar Syndrome has Terror at Tenkiller on 4K. And they still have over 1,000 left in stock. So I don't think you're going to be hurting if you wait. But I am going to share my screen with you guys and gals in case you haven't seen what the cover looks like on it. So let's see here. Share my screen again. So there you go. So that's what the cover looks like. It makes it look like it's going to be an amazing film, right? Yeah, I think Chris, I think you could wait for another sale. I really, really, really do. Um, so you say thank you, Dana. Well, you're very welcome. Always like to share. So if you want to watch Revenge and you don't have a physical copy, you can catch it on YouTube. Um, this one, like I said, is from 1986 as well. Um, and this one's a little bit, quite a bit longer than Blood Cult. This one's an hour and 39 minutes. So, uh, there may be some slower parts in it as compared to Blood Cult. Um, but upon rewatching it, even though I was going through it pretty fast, at first I thought, Blood Cult was a lot better, but then I watched this again and it's decent. In some ways it might be better than Blood Cult. In other ways, Blood Cult's better than Revenge. But if you're gonna watch one, you might as well watch the other. Um, you had Blood Cult come out in '85, and you had Revenge come out in 1986. And basically, it carries on a continuation of the same story about the uh, Cananis cult and them, collecting body parts and leaving the little gold amulet pieces and all of that. And it has some pretty good kills in it. Again, the special effects are pretty decent. You got people getting axes in their heads and um, people getting, eviscerated, basically gutted like deer. Andrea Adams' character at the beginning, whoops, spoiler, as the reporter gets pretty much gutted like a deer um, near the beginning. So, um, but basically, in a nutshell, it's just a continuation of Blood Cult. I mean, an exact continuation of Blood Cult. So I can't really, there's not a huge story. Like, these things aren't famous for their plots, obviously. So I'm not going to bore you with going over, like, I talked about the plot of Blood Cult. You got more of the same here. And so just my suggestion is definitely watch it for free on YouTube if you don't already own a copy yourself. And just enjoy it for what it is, this low budget shot on video piece of schlock. You know, don't expect too much out of it, and that way you won't be disappointed, right? So, don't really have a whole lot more to say about Revenge or Blood Cult 2. So then we're going to move along to one of my all-time favorites in this list. And I don't know how in the hell I missed this for years and years and years. I did not watch Blood Lake until Steve and I had been married for a few years. Just like a few years back, I came across this on YouTube and I watched it. And I was like, damn, this is great. Because, and I know I've talked about it for a long, long time. And again, Andrea Adams is in this, playing the girlfriend of one of the two older guys in the movie. Not older as in like old grandpas, um, but here's what makes this movie stand out above all others that are similar to this. And that's Little Tony. Okay. Little Tony, who you might be able to see right there, a little blonde kid. Okay. He's this pre-adolescent little horn dog, pretty much. Pre-adolescent, adolescent. because the girl right there, he tries to spend the whole weekend getting in that girl's pants. And I ain't kidding you. He talks about how, he's going to offer stuff that nobody else can offer, and on and on and on again, um, over and over again. So, okay, here's another thing. There's a killer on the loose who wears cowboy boots and a silk shirt with a rose stitched on it. This has been touted as the movie made by real life friends from Oklahoma on a real life vacation. And I think that's pretty much what it was. There's whole heck of a lot of water skiing in this movie. So if you don't like water skiing, you might want to stay away from this, because it does have a lot of that in it. And this is directed by Tim Boggs, who worked behind the scenes on another little movie that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, with his friend Christopher Reynolds, okay, who was another, of course, Oklahoma horror filmmaker, okay. So, of course, when the AGFA and Bleeding Skull put this out, I had to get it. And yes, it's only a DVD. I wish to hell somebody would put this out on Blu-ray. I mean, they put Moonstalker out on Blu-ray, which I am getting with that Homegrown Horrors Volume 2 set whenever I do get my orders in. And so Blood Lake is listed by these people as a rewardingly lethal collision of 80s slasher video vomit and twisted cinema verite madness. From false metal soundtrack hits to gratuitous scenes of people sleeping, this might be the only movie in history capable of receiving a stamp of approval from both David Lee Roth and Andy Warhol. So there's also, they embark on a weekend trip filled with jet skis, a keg of bush, and an extended game of quarters. And I'm not kidding about that either. And the killer is supernatural in a lot of ways. So what is not to love about this movie, Blood Lake? I ask you, what's not to love about it? I got a whole heck of a lot to love about it. And Horn Dog Little Tony utters one of the greatest lines in low budget horror history. And that line is, "You gonna be a butthole this weekend, or are you gonna let me drink?" That is right on the front cover of this movie, guys and gals. So you may be thinking, well, where can I watch this little gem? Well, let's see here. If you don't want to buy it, which without seeing these for free first, I would not recommend. Oh, and also keep in mind, this is not to be confused with a Blood Lake movie from 2014. So you can find this. There's actually more than one version of it out there. So Old Movies Digitally Enhanced put this out. So go ahead and search for Blood Lake. You might want to put 1987 behind it, or after Blood Lake, because there's Blood Lake Attack of the Killer Lampreys that I believe was put out by Asylum. So, yeah. And evidently Shannon Doherty's on it. I don't know. But I say go with Blood Lake from 87 with Little Tony in it. All right. So, and I've also done a watch along for Blood Lake. If you want to search through my videos to find that, I think I did that sometime last year. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the other gem on this 2-pack, the Scream Theater double feature, and that's the Last Slumber Party. Okay. Now, let me just tell you this. If you're looking for the better of the two movies with these two, Terror at Tenkiller. Okay. I have fun with Last Slumber Party. But if I had more scenes that I could just enjoy as pure entertainment, that would have to go to Terror at Tenkiller. Okay. But the Last Slumber Party does have a rockin' heavy metal soundtrack by the band First Strike. And I forgot to say that Blood Lake has several great, in my opinion, tunes from a band called Voyager. Coco, you say, I was like, did I just watch this on Tubi? But no, it was Blood Hook, 1986. Yeah, I also had Blood Hook back there on Blu-ray. And I did a watch along for it last year as well. You say you only watched about 15 minutes of that mess. I don't know. I like it, but yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. So, what is the Last Slumber Party about other than a slumber party? So, a scalpel wielding wacko invites you to a party where the girls are dying for a good time. Features a heavy metal rock soundtrack by First Strike. This one's only 72 minutes from 1988. It's unrated. And basically, these girls, these three high school girls, plan a slumber party. And this is written and directed by Steven Tyler. And no, not that Steven Tyler. This is Steven Tyler that spells his name like Stephen King. But I always thought that was funny. So this killer, or crazy guy, whatever way you want to say it, gets lobotomized by a doctor at this mental hospital. And we find out the doctor is the father of one of the girls that is planning the slumber party. And they want to have the slumber party at his house. But he's got to go back to the hospital because I guess he's working the late shift or whatever. And her mom, he kind of says, kind of try to be quiet around the house because your mom's trying to rest and it's late and all that. And of course, you have several scenes of the girls, playing loud music and somebody having to come in there and turn the TV down or turn the radio down or whatever, stereo. But in any event, it seems that the killer escapes from the hospital. And I think the best scene of this movie is near the beginning, where when the opening credits are rolling, you've got that hard driving, thumping song by First Strike. I think called Just a Nightmare, I believe. And it really works in this scene because the opening shot is so gritty, and you have this guy, dressing like a doctor. He's down to putting the mask on, but you do see where they have cut into his head and, lobotomized him basically, or took part of his brain out. And that scene, coupled with the song by First Strike, is just an amazing piece of work. But somewhere along the way, this movie gets very convoluted and confusing. Whereas Terror at Tenkiller didn't ever get confusing. That what you see is what you get with Terror at Tenkiller. You could get lost in the Last Slumber Party. And I'm not saying that you can't have fun with it. I'm just saying for a little more coherent plot, Terror at Tenkiller has that. So if you want to watch something that you don't have to just really pay attention to all the time, that would be Terror at Tenkiller. The Last Slumber Party, you got to pay attention. You're going to be like, who? What? What happened? You don't want to fall asleep during it, although some of you might be bored by the Last Slumber Party and may inadvertently fall asleep. But let me see if I can find a place where you could watch this for free. Let's see if this is on YouTube as well. I'm willing to bet it is. And yes, it is. So you can definitely watch that one as well for free on YouTube. Okay. So moving right along is this is one of my favorites. This is one I remember back from my video rental days. And I do actually have a Blu-ray of this one that Dark Force Entertainment put out. And that's Offerings. And I did, with Uncle Bill's help, I did a watch along for this a little while back. Steve and I have also done a commentary for it. Fun little movie, fun little slasher film. And so what's Offerings about? So let me read you a little bit of the plot synopsis here. In the tradition of the 80s slasher movie genre, Dark Force Entertainment is proud to bring you the 1989, well, actually, I guess maybe depending on when it was filmed and stuff like that. You could say 88 or 89. Cult horror classic Offerings. This dark little gem was directed by Christopher Reynolds and heavily borrowed from the original Halloween. Now, this is the one that Ken Boggs, or not Ken, Tim Boggs did and worked behind the scenes on Offerings because he was friends with Christopher Reynolds. And heavily borrowed from the original Halloween. And I'm not kidding, it does heavily borrow from Halloween, even down to the score, which is not really good, but was done by Russell D. Allen, who also did the music for Blood Lake. So, Offerings is a worthy entry into the slasher genre with its own unique appeal. If you are a fan of mass killers with knives and horror flicks, you'll want to add Offerings to your collection. 10 years after he was pushed down a well, a young man kills off the neighborhood bullies who tormented him and leaves their body parts as presents for the one girl who was kind to him. Hence the title Offerings. And the magnificent tagline, remember him before he dismembers you. This movie's a lot of fun. You can definitely make fun of it during a commentary or a watch along. It's a good one to watch with friends, I think. And just a classic piece of nostalgia for me. Because this is one of those video covers that just screamed, take me home and watch me. Rent me now. All of that stuff. I just, I had gotten burned before picking things up and renting them just because of the covers. However, this wasn't too bad. This was enjoyable. It's one that I obviously liked well enough that when it came out on Blu-ray, I picked it up. So I also had a really old DVD with some crappy artwork on it that I picked up at, FYE years and years ago. So I would definitely recommend Offerings But I'm not telling you to just go out and spend your hard earned money on it. That's why I'm, again, um, trying to find out if it is. Yes, and it is. It looks like you can watch it. Several different people have this, and they also good old Pizzow did a Blu-ray review, a movie and Blu-ray review for this 3 years ago. So if you want to check it out and not have to spend any of your hard-earned cash, again, YouTube is the place to go. So, and I know I'm going through these kind of more quickly now, but I've almost been on here for 2 hours total, and I don't want to keep anybody any longer um, than I have to. Um, so the last one I want to talk about tonight is from 1991. That's All American Murder, and yes, that is Christopher Walken in there or on the cover. Um, So who else do we have in this movie besides Christopher Walken? Josie Bassett is in this. Charlie Schlatter from 18 Again. Anson Williams from Happy Days. Um, like I said, Christopher Walken. Um, this, in my opinion, is probably the most polished of all of these movies that I talked about tonight. And probably the one that would be easiest for the average fan to watch, okay? I'm not saying there ain't some crazy shit in this movie because there is. I did not get to go back and refresh myself with it. Um, but it's a fun little, takes a lot of twists and turns. There's quite a bit of mystery in it, if I remember correctly, and all of that. So let me give you a little bit of a plot synopsis for this. So Artie Logan has a history of getting himself in trouble. He's been kicked out of every school he's attended and is no friend to the law, which makes matters extra complicated for his wealthy father, who happens to be a judge. Given one last chance, Artie is shipped off to Fairfield College. But when his new fling and the senator's daughter, Tally, is burned to death by an unknown assailant, suspicion immediately falls on Artie. Adamant of his innocence, he's granted a 24-hour period in which to unmask the actual culprit. As the hours of freedom dwindle, the killer strikes again and again. And Joanna Cassidy is also in this as well. I'd forgotten about that. But if I'm remembering correctly, this is one of those endings that's kind of, you have to see it to believe it. You're like, what? I didn't see that coming. And I certainly didn't see the ending of this one coming. So this is considered a twisted hybrid of slasher and giallo. All American Murder is the sole theatrical feature by acclaimed actor and TV director. Oh, okay. So Anson Williams, believe it or not, he was the one that directed it. Okay. So keep that in mind. Anson Williams from Happy Days directed this thing. Okay. And co-stars Academy Award winner Christopher Walken, Charlie Schlatter, 18 Again. Like I said, Christopher Walken, The Deer Hunter. They have that listed. And Josie Bassett, TV's Melrose Place. Tightly placed, suspenseful, and featuring an array of unexpected grisly murders. Vinegar Syndrome is proud to bring this underseen piece of early 90s horror to Blu-ray, newly restored in 2K from its 35 millimeter inner positive. So it looks really good. There is a commentary track on this release with the Hysteria Continues guys. There's an interview with actor Charlie Schlatter. Valuable experience and interview with cinematographer Jeffrey Schaff. There's reversible cover art, which that's the other cover art there. So, and look at this. Where else can you see great set pieces like that other than like an Argento film or something like it? Look at that. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, Dana, good suggestions. I'm going to have to start a fresh notebook. You're going to have all kinds of notebooks, which I'm not sure if All American Murder is on YouTube. Let's just take a gander here. I'm not as hopeful about this one as I am some of the others I talked about tonight. Well, what do you know? Kings of Horror has it. So if you want to watch it for free, you can certainly watch it for free on YouTube. Oh, there you have it. I think all of these that I talked about tonight are on YouTube. So that officially brings me to the end of my 8 horrors from Oklahoma. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We still got about 7 people in here, which is still pretty strong for me anyway. Oh, yeah. Coco says Dollar Tree has some good looking notebooks. But I hope that you guys got some ideas for stuff maybe to, if you're bored or something, want to watch a lot of these that you don't really have to think about, that you can kind of just sit there and just enjoy, play around on your phone or your tablet or whatever as you're watching, with the exception of the Last Slumber Party and maybe All American Murder. You probably will not get confused and be like, what? Wait a minute. What did I miss? Thank you, Chris. Chris, you say great stream, Dana, as always. And so another little reminder that tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, TJ and I will be talking about the first 8 episodes, hopefully, of Friday the 13th, the series, season 2. Thursday, I will not be on my own channel. Instead, I will be on John Grande's Horror Roundtable. So you guys and gals be sure to check that out. Friday will be my day off or my night off. And Saturday and Sunday, we've got Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3 watch-alongs. And then the following Monday will be another Camp Cronenberg. So, Blissful, you say, Dana, great live. Can't wait to watch these. Well, I hope you like at least most of them, Blissful. I know I talked them up pretty much. Chris, you say, hell yes, I'll watch that with Grande. Cool. Okay. So, on that note, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. You guys and gals have a good night, and I'll see you next time.